it was way safer for me to get on an airplane, go to the Denver airport, get on another airplane. There was no chance of COVID following me that far. So that was way safer than me driving my own sorry ass across the border.
Oh, yeah.
I think when I started race week, I had put on 1,400 miles already.
Man, that's.
Hey guys, here's a quick cut from the 3-hour-long Rich Guido podcast. Hope you enjoy it. If you do, go find the full live feed podcast. Find the podcast anywhere. Live feed will be linked in the description below. See you guys.
Tom Bailey pretty much screwed that up for me. So
Yeah, so it's funny, talking to Tom and Blaine last week. It's kind of the same thing. They're like, typically we'd be down and we'd be in a break. We wouldn't touch the car for a while, but Tom's event's in 3 months and it's time to go. You got to upgrade and update and refresh and all that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah. Like Rocky Mountain Race Week 2.0 is 5,400 miles. So got a couple things to check over. And
I definitely want to talk about, so we'll just get into it. You do typically 1.0, typically 2.0 the last 2 years. Hang on. I tell you that you didn't get to do 1.0 this year, right? Because of COVID.
That's right. 2019 was the last year I did Rocky Mountain Race Week. And then we were supposed to do Drag Week in Matt Blasco's car, but we just didn't get it ready. So missed Drag Week. And then COVID hit after that and was stuck.
It was over.
My family.
Yep. Yeah, right. So let's talk border crossing. That's a question I had later on, but I want to get into it now since we're kind of on that conversation. So what's it like for you to have to cross the border? I mean, like, I think I was talking to, it was either Bill or maybe I was in a group when you and Trevor were talking maybe on 2.0 about you, like somebody had to like tow it across the border and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah. So, so a couple things. So right off the bat, apparently I don't read very well. That didn't help. So I had to get a PCR test, which is a long lead test where, but you have to get it within 72 hours of traveling, and it costs you about $160. And then, so Trevor comes and picks me up. Trevor and his wife, Erin, and Bethany, who's an American citizen. So they come pick me up. We load the car up. We go to Calgary. She takes off to go to cross the border. So my car is loaded up on Trevor's trailer behind his TRX. And then we're waiting. So the first check mark we got to make is this young lady going to get across the border with all of our stuff? She doesn't own a cent in any of this.
Man.
So Trevor, like Erin's got to sort it out because, well, Trevor and I. So she's literally dictating everything we got to do. So
she knows what's up.
She's a planner and she does a great job. So we get notarized letters from a lawyer to say, yes, this is Rich Guido. Yes, he signed this letter in front of me. It's given permission for this young lady to cross the border. And so I'll finish that part of the story. So apparently if you send this car behind a $150,000 TRX with a cute young lady in it that's 25 years old, the only thing the border guards want to do is go with her. So, so that part went really good. But I'm not getting my results. So it's like 5 o'clock. We're leaving 6:30 in the morning the next day. I call up the place that did the testing. They said, oh yeah, those samples are delayed about 8 hours. I'm oh no. And then Erin straightens me out again and says, you don't have to you can just go get a quick test at like the London Drugs. So I get my buddy Derek Mueller to pick me up and he takes me over. I get that test, and sure enough, as I'm walking back from getting that test, I get my results for the other one. So I was double negative. Thankfully, that's not a positive. And then we had to fly from Calgary all the way to Denver, and then back to Montana, Helena, Montana, and that's where Bethany met us.
Wow.
So yeah, it was and then we drove to Denver.
Walk us through, like, why did she need to drive it across the border? Like, why couldn't you have driven across the border? Was there some rule in that, or did you need to fly to make it easier?
No, the border was closed to Canadians.
Gotcha.
But she was a U.S. citizen.
Yeah.
So we could. It was way safer for me to get on an airplane, go to the Denver airport, get on another airplane. There was no chance of COVID following me that far. So that was way safer than me driving my own sorry ass across the border.
You fly into Denver, you load up on another plane, fly to Helena, Montana. I think the way Bill explained it was that you were waiting for her to cross the border before you got on the plane, like, or something, like you were trying to schedule that out like that.
Yeah, we weren't good. If she didn't cross the border successfully, there was no point in us flying all the way. So that's why we planned it that way, where she could drive and get across the border and text us and let us know she did before we went to bed and woke up at 4:30 in the morning to go to the airport to fly out. And then when we get there, I get my car off the trailer. Matt Blasco was supposed to meet me there, but if anyone knows Matt, he was blessed with like, that guy is unique in the sense that he's an IT guy and he's mechanically inclined. He's got a mechanic's license, and but he may have been gifted with those things, but he doesn't know how to tell time. Like, if you're carpooling with somebody and it was Matt Blasco, you would make it at least to day 2, because you show up at his house and he'd be like, yeah, still sleeping. But
yeah, he's like, what? Oh, we got to go right now? Oh, sorry.
Yeah. So I call him up and basically say, dude, I'm in the States. Now, hopefully I don't get him in trouble, but anyways, he's allowed to drive. He's allowed to drive across because he has a business. And I'm sure he had parts to pick up. That's why he came across.
Yeah, for sure.
And so when I called him, he was still busy because he tunes cars like crazy. He's always got lots going on. But so I negotiated with him. He's like, I think I'm too busy. And I'm like, I don't think you are. Finish doing what you're doing. Meet me tomorrow and I'll drive north to see you. So I just about went, well, not quite back to Calgary, but I went like 4 hours from my house to pick him up. And then we left and went all the way, drove to Noble, Oklahoma, which was, I think when I started race week, I had put on 1,400 miles already.
Man, that's wild, dude. That is so wild. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's one thing that I think is funny is, being in this now for, what I would consider a little over a year, drag and drive events. Guys are crazy, man. And, I come from, guys would drag their stuff to the track and run like an 1180 and then drag their stuff. I'm like, so I never really understood. Then you go with you guys and it's like, oh yeah, we're just going to drive it. We're going to load it up and we're going to load the trailer with parts and we're going to drag the trailer to the thing. When Jonathan Stonecipher would talk about that, it didn't mean anything to me, but after seeing it, yes, it's amazing.
Yeah. That's one of my favorite things is to the track that I go to, Castro Raceway up in Edmonton. It's about an hour, doing 80 miles an hour. It's about an hour's drive. And there is nothing better than passing race car, truck, and trailers on the way there, beating them at the racetrack, go faster than them, and then driving by them on the way home.
Yeah.
Half the time I just get this. They're like, what?
Yep.
Kind of way to think that guy's crazy.
Well, so how much more do you think people would enjoy their car if they drove it to the track? Like, instead of trailering that car to an event or to the track or something like that, like just get in it and be in that thing for, at that point, another 3 hours compared to driving it to the track, race. Say you make 6 passes and they're 11-second passes and you're in the car another 3 or 4 minutes. I mean, you're in the car 45 minutes all day where you can be in the car almost 4 hours,
Yeah, I think that's what I appreciate about the drag and drive events. Like when I knew I wanted to go to an event in the States when once I started getting the car sorted out, and I was just going to drive myself and then my brother and others joined. But that was the gig for me. It was like, I want to be able to drive this thing everywhere, be able to race it. And you asked me, like, how do you prepare for race week? Just freaking I pretty much wear my car out before I get there half the time, driving it. But you learn a lot. And I don't know how many times I go to the track and I see somebody roll their race car off and they have an issue with it right off the bat.
Yeah.
And then you just wrecked your whole day.
Yeah, because you're definitely not in a good mood if you pull the car off and something's wrong.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I have been on the side of the road many times on the way to the racetrack fixing shit. But
yeah.
All right. If you enjoyed that, make sure you watch the full thing. It is crazy. The stories that dude has are awesome. We're going to have him back on as part of the 12 Pods of Christmas that is coming up next week. All right, guys. See you.